So here we are in the sanctuary at the baptismal font. This font has been here for 30 years. And think with me, 30 years. That's a lot of time and a lot of people who have stood in this place to be baptized. Some young, some old, some teenagers. Over 30 years, so many people have stood here, but one thing is the same. Every time that happened, there was a group of people in this sanctuary witnessing a person entering the household of God. A person entering the household of God where the Spirit of God is palpable. I once heard an old preacher say that we shouldn't over-sentimentalize this ritual, that when we come to watch a baptism, we should instead buckle up our seatbelts. Because from the moment of baptism on, the person is no longer in control. The Holy Spirit is in control. Friends, as we move into this fifth lesson, as Paul begins to get to the heart of his argument about Christian community, he speaks about the Spirit of God as that which builds community. This week, our study moves to the very heart of Paul's understanding of Christian community. In the 12th chapter of 1 Corinthians, Paul paints a rather sobering vision of the important role that we play in each other's lives and we play in the life of the church. And it has everything to do with the Holy Spirit.
I have a grandson who's 17, and he would come when he was a little boy and sit with us in color. So 12 years? I don't know.
Well, I haven't been in that long. I've only been in probably 4 or 5 years in this group. I had a renewal group where it dissolved because of moving.
Patty Prater or Sanchez helped form this group. And so Kathleen and I and Lori Works were some of the original members of this group. So I was going to say at least a decade.
And I've been in about 5 years, maybe 6 at this point.
The Holy Spirit gives answers to this group. And so when I come in with a question, my goodness, one or more people can answer it.
Counseling, we counsel each other, you know.
One of the true blessings for me is that I was an only child and I have absolutely no living relatives. And to have these wonderful women walk through life with me has been one of the greatest blessings.
To me, this is extended family. It's like a Christian sisterhood. There is nowhere else you can belong to a group where the roots are so deep. And it's all through grace. And we feel so close to each other and so much stronger with being together.
We're also able to pray together and support each other and help with really important decisions. And trust, the trust that we have that it's all confidential is a blessing.
And that it's spiritually based.
Yes.
Yes.
So here are a few key takeaways from this lesson. First, that Christian community and our very deepest relationships are built by the Holy Spirit through spiritual gifts. And secondly, that our talents and natural abilities are not the same thing as spiritual gifts. The indwelling of the Spirit begins at baptism, as we said, and it continues throughout the life of the believer. And finally, that spiritual gifts are under God's control and they are for God's purposes. And they're often only found as we serve, as we participate in God's community.